else protesting ICE and violently attacking cops, I hope you do something really stupid and you get to meet Jesus today. That's how I feel.
This same dude wishing an unjust demise on fellow citizens for attacking police is a proud f***ing January 6er. You cannot make this up. People, and I use that term as loosely as possible here, like this gentleman with the We the People t-shirt and the 3%ers and the 1776 tattoos, cannot possibly conceive of the irony, nor do they know what that word means, of somebody like that cheering on a police state as they fire rubber bullets and tear gas at unarmed civilians exercising their First Amendment right. If you own more than one "don't tread on me" flag and you think that the government sending in its military to police its citizens is a good idea, you have fully lost the plot, man. I know this probably won't reach him or you if you disagree with me, but I want you to hear me when I say this. When they come knocking at your door, I want you to remember who you were cheering for.
You literally cannot write this level of irony, as Good Trouble states.
Feel tough with your assault rifles and your sticks? You should be standing here with us. You're on the wrong side of history. We know you got a job to do, but you took an oath to the Constitution, not to the fascists in the White House. Think about what you're doing now. Think about what this means. Coming into our community. Peaceful community. People working their jobs. They send in men in military fatigues. Weapons of war into our communities. And you stand here and you allow it. I am sick and tired of it. You should be sick and tired of it. You think any of these people in the White House sending you these commands give a about you? Not one of them do. They laugh at you. Our president laughs at you. He calls you fools. He said the people who died overseas in the military were chumps. That's who you're offending right now. Think about your place in history, ladies and gentlemen. Ask yourself when you wake up tomorrow. I don't know if you have kids. Ask yourself the future you want for your children. Is it this? You can answer me. Is it this? Do you feel good about this? You're tough behind your masks and your fatigues and with your weapons, but how do you feel on the inside? This is our community, and we will fight for it if we have to. Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets?
Let me be clear. The blame is to be laid at the feet of Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, and the rest of the current administration. It is not on the people of LA, no matter how many media outlets are going to say opposite. It is not on those who are peacefully protesting and exercising their constitutional rights. It is this elevation of action and tyranny by the current administration. As we take all of these clips in on multiple platforms from Los Angeles, Let's hear from a former sniper speak on all this.
The reason it's such a big deal that Donald Trump is federalizing National Guard troops is because he's doing it without the governor's consent. Not only without his consent, but the governor does not want the National Guard deployed. The entire point of the military is to protect civilians. And the last time that a president federalized the National Guard without the governor's consent was at the end of segregation. And that was to protect the people of color, the civilians who were going into that school. Because the entire point of the military is to protect civilians, not dominate them. If you're an unbiased person, it is so clear that this administration has been jonesing to send troops into blue states. He talked about it on his campaign trail. The entire point of this move is to dominate the citizens, dominate civilians, and that is the antithesis to the military. You don't dominate your own citizens. I just got back from DC and I went to the Holocaust Museum, and I am telling you that we are on the same timeline. We are on the same railroad tracks. The exact same thing that is happening now happened pre-Holocaust Germany. And how you react and what you do about it matters.
Then he saw Trump give a presser and reacted in a way that you probably wouldn't expect. But if you think about it, makes sense.
Even if you're not planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, you still plan to send troops?
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart.
What? You're going to have troops everywhere? What's crazy is that's not even the scariest part of this video. But before I show you that, if you don't know by now, I'm CFH Unfiltered combat veteran and former sniper, and I started this channel because I actually give a about my country. The scary part lies in the comments. So take a look at these two comments. These two comments, strangely enough, say the exact same thing. And look at that. The first comment is AI, a beautiful woman with big old AI. The second one, well, God, it's the same thing now, ain't it? AI. So I got a question for you. Why is this entire comment section filled with AI supporting Donald Trump? The reason is this administration wants you to think that if you're against martial law, then you're the odd man out. Everybody else in your community agrees with it. So what can you do about it? Show your friends and family this kind of bull. Show them the comments, show them the profiles, show them this video, and show them that these comments are AI.
Here are my thoughts on all of this. I lived in LA on and off for 10 years. I have never met more kind, generous, gracious, loving, caring, empathetic, and a ton of different cultures of people. That is what makes LA, LA. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. The only knock I have on LA is the cost of living and traffic. Everything about LA is so majestic because of the people that are in it. What frustrates me is knowing, and I lived in a few different areas, I wish I lived in more, going to different parts of the city and always seeing diversity. And knowing now what I am seeing once again from Donald Trump being in office once again and deploying cops, sheriff's deputies, the National Guard. He wants to bring in the military. Remember when they said that they were going after criminals? And they're not. They're not. Because if this is your policy, it fits the playbook of white supremacism. And you have white supremacists in the administration taking over LA, injuring citizens, handcuffing innocent people, detaining innocent people, deporting innocent people. I stand with the protesters. And what you're going to see today is a lot of people who work for different outlets, could be anywhere from CNN all the way to OAN, stating that the protesters are in the wrong because one person is going to do one thing when really, as we saw from the 2020 George Floyd protests, over 90% of them were peaceful. And we saw reports published by The Guardian that showed members of extremist groups invading these spaces and breaking windows, throwing stuff at the cops, etc. I am telling you right now, it will happen again, but it will not be from the protesters, largely. It will be from those invading those spaces to make the protesters look bad, use one example that will be carried out by legacy media, and shunning those protesters. Why? Because the Trump administration is already going after CBS. Scott Pelley spoke on it. They're getting sued. And there's about to be a merger. Legacy media will fall in line. I am telling you. And the way that this is going to be covered, predicting, is going to be shameful. I am begging y'all, begging. Watch what is going on. Stand with the protesters. Because guess what? It's not going to stop at LA. LA is the test run. They're going to go after blue cities. They're going to go after blue states. You really think New York and Philly and Chicago aren't next? They are. They are. How deeply shameful for this not only to happen because they want to penalize blue states and go after, in California, the fourth highest GDP, I believe, in the world. These are the scenes they want. They want troops on the ground to go up against their own citizens who do not obey. So guess what? Don't. It is power in numbers. Don't. Frustrating, disappointing, enraging. But unite as one, because the people will not lose.
The administration that you're a part of is pushing for a massive tax break for billionaires, paid for by massive cuts to healthcare and food assistance for everyday Americans, including to the children that you're charged with educating. You yourself and your family, as a billionaire family of wealth of about $3.2 billion, can you share with us, do you know how much you and your family will receive in tax benefit if this Republican tax proposal gets pushed through?
No, I've not sat down and worked with my accountants on what tax. I can tell you most.
You have a general sense?
Well, I
Is
can
it
tell you
millions
last
or
time
tens of
taxes went through, I paid more.
And so you think that under this proposal, you will not, like the other billionaires, get millions or tens of millions of dollars in tax benefit?
I think this is kind of a ridiculous line of questioning.
No, it's not ridiculous, because here's what's important. The biggest bill being pushed by your administration for your average extremely wealthy person would give about a $4 million benefit. Your family is worth about $3.2 billion, so I imagine that you'd get millions of dollars in benefit from this tax bill. Does that make sense? Does that check out?
I don't know.
This is Linda McMahon, the wife of vile racist and alleged sexual assaulter Vince McMahon. She is the Secretary of Education in the Trump administration, and she is grossly incompetent.
We also know that you have gutted the Office of Civil Rights when there is already investigation backlog. How are you going to fix the discrimination claim cases that are out there?
Well, there are excuse me, there are cases that we're looking into. And again, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements in terms of OCR. We also have a task force.
There is a backlog. There are a lot of
There is a backlog
There are a lot of
because we
kids in our schools that are waiting for relief. When you get rid of the people that are supposed to carry out those investigations, how are you to assure that those kids will not continue to be harmed? We are talking about so many situations in where kids are being discriminated against, and you got rid of the people that investigate those investigations so those kids can protect themselves from from discrimination.
Well, we still have a very strong and capable staff in OCR.
Then you wouldn't have a backlog if that was the case. There is a current backlog, and I would love for you to stop just saying words and to actually do the work that you are charged by statute, and I yield back.
Thus, she gets torched in hearing after hearing after hearing.
Is it clear, or do you believe that you are misleading the public regarding the actions that you and President Trump have taken to cut or cancel programs and services for disabled children and their families? You've said multiple times that disabled students will not be negatively impacted by your decisions, but they already are. Time and time again, this administration asks the American people to listen to everything that they say, but to ignore actually what they're really doing. Given our limited time, I plan to submit written questions to you and for the record, to learn more about your decision and get some direct answers from these parents as to why the kids can't meet with their teachers anymore. Secretary, yes or no? Simple answer, just a direct answer. Do you believe that gun violence, the leading cause of death for children in this country, is a public health crisis?
I believe that gun violence is just, we should take steps to make sure that gun violence does not happen in our schools.
Is it a public health crisis to you? The American people and families want to know, do you believe that our children sitting in our classrooms should be fear of unnecessary gun violence? Most of America believes that this is a public scourge. Do you believe that gun violence poses a threat to our children while they're sitting in our classrooms?
Gun violence should not be allowed anywhere, and gun violence especially should not be in our schools.
I'd like to say to you, Secretary, as a mother who lost her son to unnecessary gun violence in the prime of his teenage years, your response, or basically a lack of response, is completely out of touch. Every parent, whether they send their kids to public or private school, worries about their child being killed at school. And there's a lot of data to prove that. It is an unfortunate reality that this happens every single day, but yes, this is the reality.
Madam Chair, what's the definition of insanity?
Of sanity or insanity?
Insanity.
Insanity?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 1979?
I'm sorry, what?
What was we ranked nationally in math and reading in 1979?
We were very, very low on the totem pole.
We were number one in 1979.
Now, it's no surprise with their track record, when one works for an administration such as this, they want to bring back some of the worst parts of society from yesteryear.
I literally hate Indiana. In the middle of warm-ups and all.
And how do I know this?
On New York's Long Island, Massapequa High School is the home of the Chiefs. And to go with that name, the school also has a tribal-inspired logo and mascot. The state's Department of Education does not approve of that. And they've threatened the school could lose state funding if it does not stop using Native American references. Well, President Trump and the federal education department. The president weighed in on social media in April to call New York's opposition an affront to our great Indian population. He then put his education secretary, Linda McMahon, on the case, and she visited the school Friday. Secretary McMahon announced that the department will investigate whether its state education officials who were actually being discriminatory by threatening funding over the name and imagery.
We absolutely did find that this is a civil rights violation here in Massapequa. The State Board of Education and to the Board of Regents, we would like to have you voluntarily come, sign the resolution that would allow the Chiefs to continue.
Jermaine Smith is the former general counsel and secretary of the Shinnecock Indian Nation in New York. He's also advised the New York Department of Education on mascot restrictions.
It's almost laughable and disgraceful, those comments about it being discriminatory. The Shinnecock Nation and other tribal nations in New York State, we've had our share of issues with New York State ourselves, but the New York State Education Department has been a partner to the Shinnecock Nation.
As one spokesperson said to Spectrum News, it was a political stunt by McMahon. Adam Drexler, a Massapequa resident and member of the Chickasaw Nation, told the outlet reps from the Native American Guardians Association who voiced their support for the mascot staying are, per Drexler, Native Americans for Hire, noting the group is not based in New York, but North Dakota. Quote, they have no tribal authority, he added, which is true. They are a conservative group. Meanwhile, the councils in New York, the state of, continue saying that mascotting them is degrading. From the great Dave Zirin, by conflating indigenous minstrelsy, white people in face paint with representation, it also makes it easier for non-natives to ignore actual issues plaguing native communities, like poverty and poor healthcare access. It's a warped version of visibility that only serves to erase. As a spokesperson from the National Congress of American Indians said, these depictions are not tributes. They are rooted in racism, cultural appropriation, and intentional ignorance. He'd also print, then there is the poisonous lie that Trump cares about indigenous populations when his bald racism against Native people has been a consistent part of his life for decades. If he really cared, he would apologize for the fact that Native people are being mistakenly arrested by ICE. It's just more gaslighting from this regime, akin to this cabinet of open anti-Semites claiming to have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism. This past week, a true hater of Jews, conservative Nepo baby Kingsley Wilson, was promoted to spokesperson of the Department of Defense over the meek objections of the ADL. We have done the stories in the past of how detrimental this sort of symbology is. It's no shock that the Cleveland Indians decided to become the Cleveland Guardians and scrap the Indians logo altogether. The bigger shock was how long it took. The research has shown the psychological effects this has on the indigenous population and how they are treated then lesser when they are portrayed in this manner. What also gets me is how so many continue to not see it and not listen to those that are directly affected.